And I'll conclude with this story. Actually, I'd like to tell you 2 stories, short stories. So if we go over to 6 minutes, you'll forgive me. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. It's a very famous story. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi in the Gemara, one of the great rabbis of the Talmud, he prayed and prayed that he should be paid a visit by Elijah the prophet, who visits great men throughout the ages and women and reveals himself to them for various purposes. So Elijah appears to Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi asks Elijah that he wants to accompany him on Elijah's travels throughout the world, where Elijah goes to fix things and help people. And Elijah says, no way, you can't do that, because you're going to ask me too many questions, and I don't have time for questions. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, I promise the minute I ask you the first question, I will leave. So Elijah says, okay. So they arrive at a hut of a very poor elderly couple who basically sustain themselves with this single cow they have in the back. And this poor couple invites Elijah and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi into their home. They give them their own beds, feed them the food that they had prepared for themselves, and went to sleep hungry to honor their guests. In the morning, I'm going through this a little quickly. In the morning, they wake up, they thank their host. Elijah goes back into the pasture, and he prays that the cow should die. And the cow dies. And the husband and wife run out and screaming, ripping their hair out. Oy vey, what are we going to do? We don't have anything to eat. How are we going to live? And Elijah comforts them and says, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. And he leaves. And Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is bursting. He can't understand, where is justice? And then they go to another city, and there's a very wealthy man building a beautiful palace, and the workers are running to and fro, and Elijah wants to have a place to sleep, and the guy doesn't even look at them. He's not bothering with them. He can't wait till they leave. And finally, they say, we have no place to sleep, and he begrudgingly throws them a mat inside the barn where the horses are, gives them no food, some scraps. And then they wake up in the morning, and the workers are having trouble building this wall, and Elijah prays that the wall should be built by itself miraculously so that workers don't have to worry about it. And sure enough, boom, zap, the wall's up, everybody's happy and dancing, and the rich man comes over to thank Elijah, and Elijah says, think nothing of it. And they leave. There's another couple of instances. I'm not going to go into them because the same point will be made. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, okay, Elijah, you're right. I can't handle this journey. I'm ready to leave you, but please explain what just happened. So Elijah says, okay, I'll explain to you what happened, and then you're going to have to leave. This older man and woman were childless, and for some reason it was decreed in heaven that they not have any children, and that they were going to pass away within that week. And because of their kindness and hospitality, it was decreed that instead of them dying, the cow will die. And they will be blessed with a child and find sustenance very quickly from another place. But the aggravation, momentary aggravation, temporary aggravation of losing their cow will be enough to expiate whatever it is that they needed to suffer. So I did them the biggest favor by killing their cow. The other fella was about to find a treasure chest of wealth right where those workers were struggling with that foundation of that wall. And had I not built that wall for them, they would have found it. And that rich man didn't deserve to find the treasure. So I built the wall for him, and no one will ever know that that treasure is there. So not everything is as it seems to be in our lives. And this is what Eliyahu HaNavi stands for. He will be the harbinger of Mashiach, because when Mashiach will come, we will have explanations to suffering along the lines of those explanations that Elijah gave to Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi.